Hey, what's going on, guys? This is Devon from Safe Haven Music with this Jackson Josh Smith SL7 Pro Series EV 7-string baritone guitar. I'm excited to get into this. Josh Smith has been playing Jackson for a long time, since before he was even a Jackson artist. He was playing this B7 that he had modified and actually filled the neck position, which was a humbucker, to fit a single coil, and ended up rocking a very similar HS combination with that. And it had a different Jackson 4/3 headstocks. If you remember the B7s, they had a very similar headstock to, they had a 4/3 headstock to those, but this, of course, this is a very different design that ended up coming out much later. He started dabbling in the custom shop with different designs during the Mesmer album. He was rocking a baritone 7-string Strat, actually, from Jackson, like an actual Strat body with a pick guard. It was an HSS impulse set, so you had another one in the middle, and it had the same headstock like this. Then after that, he ended up getting something like, they looked like this, but in white from the custom shop. So it seemed like from that time, he was really starting to develop a guitar that might become a signature model. So this is actually a guitar that we sold to a customer, one of my friends, and he wanted it in pretty much the same tuning that Northlane plays in. They usually play in a double drop F, where they have the first 6 being a drop B with the low F, but he just wanted regular drop F, so this would be a C standard for the first 6 and a low F right here. Technically, this guitar just comes in standard tuning with a 10 to 59 set, but being that he wanted to go to that lower tuning, we decided to go with a heavier set of strings here. So I am getting him a NYXL D'Addario 12 to 54 set with a D'Addario NYXL 80 gauge string for the 7th, and then ended up being perfect for the guitar. We had to slot the nut and get the action exactly right. But if there's anybody out there that's looking to get a guitar like this or very similar, with a similar setup where they want to go lower and change the strings and go a lot thicker to slot the nut, we can absolutely do that. And this is one of the many that we do that too. It is a Soloist body, but we have a little bit of a contour here to get closer to the 24th fret. We have an Evertune, which that's going to help, of course, with the baritone scale length and the lower tunings. But on the back, it is a neck through, but it still has like this big heel on it. And something I thought was really cool was that actually I was looking at something the other day, and I think it was like a late 80s Charvel, maybe Model 7 or something, whatever the Japanese guitars being made were back then, but it had the same neck heel, and I realized it does give a very similar design cue from the an old hair metal style guitars or thrash guitars that were being made back at that time. Then moving up to the headstock, of course, yes, that is a Fender licensed headstock. Coming down from that, we have this really cool Aquamarine finish. I believe they called it Dark Surf Green. I believe he ended up seeing an old Strat that was either seafoam green, probably a seafoam green back then, that ended up kind of getting this yellow tinge to it. So he ended up liking that color so much that he ended up getting it for his B7 back then, and then of course putting it on this as a call to his old B7. So next up, this actually has a really cool combination of woods in the way that it was built. It is a neck-through construction, but as you see on the back, we have a roasted maple neck that comes through the entire body of the guitar, as well as the wings of the body being alder. Now, I think the really cool thing about this is that you get this really long and thick piece of roasted maple that goes through the entire body, and you still get this, it's not really a big neck heel, but you'd still get something that's meeting at where the neck and the body meet, even though it's still going through. And this tends to give a lot of tone towards the single coil because it's kind of like right in the middle of that entire joint if you're looking through both sides of the guitar. And that brings me to the next thing about these. The big thing on why this guitar sounds different from most other guitars is really these pickups. These are the bare knuckle impulses. They come in a humbucker and a single coil, and he has both. If you notice, each bobbin has 2 rails on it. And of course, blade magnets are usually known for, what do you think of like a Dimebucker, or even like the Seymour Duncan West Houck Jupiter rail pickup. But these are completely different from anything you've heard of. Like, to be honest, if you were to hear these pickups, take out and forget whatever knowledge you know about like what regular pickups sound like, because these have a very specific quality to them that allow themselves towards this bigger and louder sound. If you're familiar with Northlane, they're really big on single note type riffs, lots of bigger, dronier sounds, and these pickups just like allow themselves to just open up like I've never heard anything before. These are passive, and people sometimes think, oh, they're so hot, do you think they're active? And no, they're definitely not. But in the way that they're designed, I think these were meant to be kind of like a passive alternative on what an active pickup can be. Because if you think about it, like an EMG is pretty much like, almost like kind of a sensor, where you'd have like this flat pattern of magnetism. And it's the same thing having all of these blade magnets per bobbin, giving like this continuous and consistent magnetism towards the strings. And for this demo, we're actually using, of course, big surprise, Quad Cortex along with the Tone Block 202 from Coulter as just live sound so I can hear it here. For this one, I'm using a amp model of a Diesel Herbert, and then for a couple of the other riffs, I'm using a different capture. Somebody captured a Fortin Nameless plugin, which is kind of like a, it's supposed to be the Fortin Meshuggah amp. I believe they used that on Alien, so I did use that for the Talking Heads breakdown riff on that. And then I'm playing another riff later on that's my own, that I'm still using the same Fortin Nameless capture of that plugin. What I wanted to do specifically for this demo is kind of showcase the many different types of tones that this guitar can actually achieve. The dichotomy of Northlane's discography really changes within the tone that they are using, but what stays the same is the guitar that they're using and kind of what they're actually able to convey with this type of guitar and how many different sounds it can achieve. As you heard before, like, of course it sounds great on gain, it's a baritone 7-string, but like, with these pickups, because like, yes, they may sound really hot, they have such an opposite sound when it comes to the cleans. They're very big, open, airy, and how many different pickup combinations you can get, even with just this 3-way, is very surprising. All right, so we're gonna go through the different types of clean tones that you can get out of this guitar with the different pickup combinations we have. So you heard how nasty the bridge pickup sounded before when we were adding distortion towards it. So how it acts on cleans is very different. So let's see that. The natural behavior of the pickup is to actually just work off of whatever baseline tone is there. So the pickup is not necessarily coloring it too much. Let's see both pickups together. So when we're in the middle position, we have the single coil in the neck and not the full bridge, but you do get that inner coil. So let's see what that sounds like. So of course it sounds like it has that really big kind of split coil type of sound that you're used to hearing out of a 7-string, but when it comes to like how fat it sounds, that's really honestly due to that neck pickup, that single coil that's there. I've actually had a bare knuckle impulse single coil in one of my old guitars a while ago, and it really has this huge sound to it. Because it has 2 volumes on it, you have a volume for your neck and your bridge. When you're in that middle position, if you roll off your neck, you're just getting that inner coil right there on the bridge pickup. So let's see what that sounds like. So that's really cool because that honestly sounds like the second position that you'd hear on a Strat. Again, that's kind of inner coil type of sound that you'd hear. As you can tell, when I was just like on that middle position and rolled off the neck, you're like, where did all that fatness go? Because technically, again, that body that you're hearing out of the middle position when both pickups are fully on is that neck pickup. So let's hear what the neck pickup sounds like on its own. Yeah, the neck pickup really has this like really huge sound around it. Like I was saying before, how the neck pickup is pushed all the way up to the fretboard and how it's kind of like in the same vicinity as like that neck joint that's in the back where the roasted maple comes through, even though again, it's not like a neck joint, it's still neck through, but you've got this like huge chunk of roasted maple just sitting underneath the single coil neck pickup. It just sounds crazy when you end up mixing up those pickup combinations. So something that like I feel like a lot of signature guitarists get is this negative connotation that it's just somebody's guitar that they put a different color on it, slap their name on it, and call it a day. The greatest thing about, I think, a lot of more modern guitar players is the fact that they're not just like looking to play that brand of guitar, they're looking to improve upon what's already out in the world and what is being sold. So being that this is a like Soloist body but with a Fender headstock in this really cool colorway with these pickups specifically, this is not something that is replicated often, if not ever at all. Like Josh Smith has made a name for himself playing this type of guitar where if you've seen H's combination with bar magnets, you're like, that's a Josh Smith. With this exact guitar, it's calling upon a certain playing style that you can't really get that same type of tone out of every guitar that's out there, because of this being like 27 inches instead of just 26 and a half, and then having these pickups resonating the way that they do with this low tuning. It just captures that tone. And that's another thing too. A lot of signature guitars, they think like, oh, like you can't sound like the person, it's all in the hands. Like that may be so, I mean, that's very true. But when it comes to like this guitar and the way these pickups sound and this whole combination, like this is the Northlane tone. This has been Devon from Safe Haven Music, checking out the brand new Jackson Pro Series Josh Smith Soloist SL7 EV in the dark surf green. absolutely in love with this guitar. I think it's a fantastic beast. Check out our website, safehavenmusic.com. Thank you very much.